What is going on, everybody? Happy new intro. Wasn't that cool? Like such a surprise. I didn't know that existed till about like 15 minutes ago, and I already love it and happy to add some new imaging to the show. Always appreciate the one and only Matthew for helping us out with that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Matthew. Finally coming back to the show. It's been a minute. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. It's just been busy. Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay, very good, Matt. Way to bring the energy onto the show, and also with us, it's been a little bit more consistent than you. I'll
What
give him
was that?
Colin, what's up?
What was that? Oh, hi, I mean my chicken nuggies. It's fine. Popcorn shrimp. Oh, even better. The face is so much better than the first one. Oh, it's so good.
Like he's back for 30 seconds and he's already frozen.
Oh,
like,
it's great. We heard his brother's soundbar through the roof, but he gets here for 5 seconds and it's like, oh, let me pause in the middle of a chew. Great, right? Great stuff, StreamYards. Coming in hot. Let's talk some Boba freaking Fett.
Yes, we are here to break down Chapter 3 of the Book of Boba Fett, which is titled The Streets of Mos Espa. It was once again directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Jon Favreau. This episode wasn't as long as last week. It was about 38 minutes or so. Brendan, what's up? How you doing, buddy? Did you like
Star
the
Wars champion of the FCL right there?
Shout out to Brennan. You definitely know your Star Wars stuff, so please let us know how you felt about the episode in the comments below. Get the discussion started. But yeah, man, we're going to do like we did last week, and we're going to let Colin break down the episode in 60 seconds. And not going to lie, last time he did pretty bad. Like it was pretty awful, but it was his first time. It was kind of put on the spot. But he says he is a lot more prepared this time. I love this episode. I agree with you. Not as much as last week, but we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. But Colin, are you ready to break down the episode for us?
Hold on. Hit the spice stick. 3, 2, 1, go. We start at the palace. 88 gives a briefing explaining that Vid Fortuna was giving money to the mayor and like, yo, hey, they want to see how good of a leader you are. On to the dude from Man in the High Castle, aka the Man in the High Castle, comes in and says, hey, these kids are stealing my water. Well, guess what? You're actually shorting the kid or charging the kids too much. Boba Fett tells the kids, actually, you know what? You're going to come work for me and fuck this guy. I'm going to give you $500 instead of the $1,300 they owe you. Go to a flashback where all of the Tusken Raiders die as Boba is meeting with the Pikes for the first time. Flash forward to the present day. The Wookiee assassin, BK, wakes him up out of the back to tank, throws him around for the scariest scene ever. Ends up in the Rancor tank. The Hutts are there. They give him a new Rancor, and then they chase the Major Domo through the streets because the mayor's not there, and he crashes, and Boba realizes the Pikes are coming.
Wow. Well done, sir. So much better than last week. We're a lot more prepared this time. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed this episode. Again, like I said, not as much as last week. Got a lot more of the present day story this time, which I appreciated because that's really what's been lacking. I think this series so far is kind of pushing the story forward in the present day. It seems like, again, after this episode, they've kind of wrapped up the Boba Fett's adventures with the Tuskens. And me and Colin talked a lot last week.
Damn, you just put that so lightly. Well, I guess, this is the end of the adventures with the Tuskens.
I mean, wow. It was very sad, but but they didn't like this. I would say the scene was really good. Temuera Morrison's performance is very moving. Doesn't say a word, just the emotion in his face, him burning, the carcasses, and him pulling out the little stick that the little Tusken child had. Oh man, it broke me.
It'd be like if Broom Kid died and you just see them toss the broom in. He was killed in a stampede at the racetrack, tossed his broom. So sad. Just so incredibly moving stuff. His tears. You saw the moving emotion of a man. Now let's put this in real perspective. Standing in the middle of a room of the volume with this one fire, and he's getting all of this emotion out. It's incredible. Coming from a show where we didn't see the main character's face for a majority of the time, to thinking that that's going to be the case with this show as well, and it's actually the opposite. Come on, it's great.
Yeah, I didn't want to avoid that conversation. We were definitely going to get there, but my point was we focus way more on the present day, pushing that story forward, getting an idea of who the real villains are in this story. But I want to start because Boba Fett is starting to build his entourage, right? He already had Finnick, and then he gets the Gamorrean guards. He has his droid, and now we meet these teenage biker gang, right? And I will they're very Power Ranger-esque. Every motorcycle is a different color. And the designs of them are very cyberpunk. And I mean, the teenagers themselves are like cyborgs. They add robot parts to them to like make them more menacing. But the first time I watched the episode this morning, I didn't love it. I thought that was a little off-putting and it didn't feel like it fit. But after watching it a second time, I definitely appreciate it a lot more. And I like what they were going for. I mean, you can imagine like Tatooine is just very bland. It's very gray, right? It's very brown. And you have these teenage cyborgs running around. They're not going to be wanting to drive just these old beat up swoop bikes. Like they're going to customize their bikes, make them colorful and bright, right? They clearly want to live, towards the center of the galaxy on Coruscant, like where all the flashy, vehicles and speeders are. So I think that's what they're trying to mimic, and putting that on such a bleak planet like Tatooine definitely works, and it makes them stick out and it gives them their own identity. And so, Colin, I want to throw it to you. How did you feel about these new characters that we met? Did you like them? Did you love them? Or are you more mixed?
This is a broader conversation, but it comes back to the point of I accept Star Wars for what it gives me, and I treat it like history. Very rarely do I hate something that Star Wars does. I might not like it, but it has some effect on what's going on in the larger world, right? So immediately when I watch these kids, I got headcanon going out the wazoo. I'm like, oh, they stole those bikes, and then they hopped on the quickest freighter they could find. They probably didn't even pay for the ticket, and it's like, oh, fuck, we just ended up in Mos Espa. Like, we can't get off of this rock. And then lo and behold, here comes Boba Fett to save the day, and he's picking up the people that Bib Fortuna left behind. And if you can get those people and the crime people, you got everybody. And you got to start from the bottom. Sorry to take the line from Drake, but starting from the bottom and then working your way up to the top in terms of whose respect you have is something in the States, or just politics, like the grassroots movement. And that's what Boba Fett is kind of doing here. And for lack of a better word, sand roots movement. And like, he tried to do it obviously successfully with the Tusken Raiders. And now will that work with people who have no honor? Because that's what these kids are. They're just kids on the street. Can he teach them to have honor, to have respect, and to show that? And he's really kind of making more of like an Italian, New York, New Jersey crime mafia kind of vibe than even the Hutts. The Hutts just kind of feel like, I don't, more like a cartel. They're like a Mexican drug cartel. Like I'm watching Narcos Mexico right now. So I got to celebrate. But like, that's kind of more of what I relate their style of shit to, which is more like a cartel is more likely to just hire somebody to go kill you, aka Black Chrysanthemum, going and ripping him out of the Bacta tank, as opposed to Boba Fett in this show turning into, well, let's go have a conversation with somebody else. And it's like he just wants to have conversations, and it feels like I'm watching The Sopranos. And the more and more that I'm realizing what show I'm watching, I'm kind of here for it. Like, I'm not angry with it. And I think that's the same thing we had with Mando season 3. Mando season 1, the first 4 episodes was the show trying to figure out what it was and trying to bring us into this character's world. And it's just a very strange thing that Boba Fett's doing, that it's building a world and doing the backstory at the same time, which is something Mando didn't do. So it's doing a lot, which can kind of be off-putting. Like you say, you didn't like it at first, but the second viewing, you kind of see like, okay, maybe they're building something here, and we get that though. You get the long episode, then you get the short episode.
Right, and we talked last week about how this is a 7-episode series, and so we're wondering like when are things going to start to pick up and really start to get a lot more action, more story, right? But we're still getting those very intimate moments. I mean, we saw it in this week's episode with the Tuscan, basically the Tuscan funeral in the flashback, and then Boba Fett having this wonderful intimate moment with this Rancor, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But no, back to the Street Gang. A podcast listener that I listened to today, he called him the most Vespa biker gang, and so that's what I'm going to refer to them now. Like it's perfect. Like it's literally
I
perfect.
saw some no context spoilers, and it was the Luca poster.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the kids on the Vespa, and I was like, "Ah, y'all did it, didn't you? Y'all went there."
Yeah, and I'm really excited to learn more about them because, again, the second time I watched the episode, I definitely appreciated it a lot more. And then that kind of leads us into kind of the big, I guess, fight scene of this episode where Boba Fett is asleep. He's dreaming about that Tuscan funeral, and then all of a sudden he's getting ripped out of the back of the tank by Black Chrysanthemum and fighting him in his underwear. And I just thought that whole scene was
Honestly, one of the
incredible.
loudest things I've ever seen in Star Wars ever. I think that's an iconic scene. That is a different type of experience that you usually have. And the only thing that I can relate it to are two things, same character, Darth Vader, shockingly. First one, Rogue One, when he's chopping dudes down trying to get to the ship and just chopping rebels down. You're terrified, but also like really happy at the same time because it's cool. So it's kind of weird. But then when Vader is chasing after you in Jedi Fallen Order, and you're like the music was pounding in my headphones, the sense of fear was there. Like you're like, where are all these people? How does this guy get in here? There's no like cut back like in an anime where they show you something cool and you're like, oh, where'd that guy come from? Well, the first 15 minutes of the next episode is going to show you how we got there. There's none of that. So there's no explanation of like Boba should have like chastised all those people for being like, how the hell did he get in here while we were sleeping? I guess that place needs better security at night because that's exactly how Luke got in there or Leia got in there. And it's set Han free.
Yeah, I really like the strategy of Black Chrysanthemum there. Like, he's not going to try to fight Boba Fett when he's completely armored up and he has Finnick right by his side, has the Gamorreans right by his side. He's like, no, I'm gonna sneak in while he's asleep in his little back to tank, and I'm gonna rip him out of there and try to freaking break his neck like as quickly as I can. But Boba Fett, like even his underwear, no real armor on him at first. He was able to hold his own until he was able to grab a gaffy stick and kind of wreck shot for a minute before his most Vespa gang came in and kind of saved his ass. But then I love when they like get him back down into the main, corridor of, at this point, Boba's palace, and they send him down the Rancor pit, and he's just like kind of dangling there. And you think, oh, he might be able to pull himself up. Like, this isn't going to work. Like, they're not going to, get BK that easily. And then Finnick just like throws a ninja star at his hand and he falls down in there and they trap him. And then that kind of leads into us seeing the twins again. And I'm really glad that they kind of wrapped up the story with the twins in this episode. And as we said before, we're starting to see who the real villains are. And it's
you think it's wrapped up?
I think with the twins, yes, I do. Because they offered him the gift. They're like, hey, violence is bad for business. We tried once to get you. You survived. Here's a Rancor.
Okay, so you think they're done? They're not coming back?
I think the twins are done. I think, again, we have 4 episodes
that's
left,
expensive
right?
shit. They went through all that modeling for like 6 minutes of screen time.
I mean, I believe them that they're gonna go back to Nal Hutta and just kind of chill.
I want to see Nal Hutta live. That's where my hope is. That I need somebody to have to go to Nal Hutta.
Yeah, because what is that? I mean, I think we've seen it before in the Clone
Wars. It looks like they live in like insect hives.
Right, exactly.
Weird. It's like a swamp.
They're all ginormous slugs. So I want to see like
it is a smelly swamp.
What is a metropolitan area on Nal Hutta? Is it civilized? Is it like advanced? Right? Is there like I don't imagine so. I bet it's just a swamp. But anyway, no, I'm glad that they kind of wrapped that up. Here's a Rancor, which Danny Trejo is a Rancor trainer. Are you kidding me? Like, we knew he was going to show up eventually, but what a perfect role for him. And he's so charming from the jump, and I hope we see more of him later.
When you see it, you're like, Oh, duh. Like,
Yeah.
I totally wasn't like in my head when I'm thinking like Cad, like not him playing Cad Bane, but I'm thinking like, oh, is Cad Bane gonna show up? Is now Dr. Aphra gonna show up? Has been a big thing talked about around like all these characters. I'm like, oh, well, duh, Danny Trejo's gonna show up in a Robert Rodriguez production. Like, duh, of course. And he's like the cute little Rancor. I did think it was really weird how like the Rancor was then just cool with the second person that he saw.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, so he imprints, and then does he just know you from the sound of your voice, from like being the person that raised it? Maybe.
Right. I was kind of expecting, like in Jurassic World, remember when Owen is petting the raptors and they're all calm, and then douchebag guy comes around, he's like, "Oh, I'm
Yes.
gonna pet him," and then they start growling at him. I thought it was gonna be very similar, where like Danny Trejo has the Rancor kind of chill, like they know each other, they're buddies, and then Boba Fett's like, "I'm gonna scratch under your ear," and then the Rancor's just gonna start attacking him. But no,
I
they
thought
seem
that's
to.
what was going to happen to the droid, and that's how we were going to get a new droid. Like, second 88 comes in, I'm like, bye, bruh.
Yeah,
You're
he
out.
just peeks his head like behind. He's like,
No,
"Hey,"
I thought he
like,
was gonna get tail whipped. Honestly, I thought he was gonna get tail whipped because he was gonna hear something, and then Bo was gonna be like, no, stop, no, bam, and he just whacks him like.
and they gave us a little tease. Boba Fett really, really wants to ride this Rancor. So I imagine
No,
the final episode, like
look,
he's gonna
y'all,
come
like
in riding a Rancor,
Funko
like,
Pop. All right, yo, look, Funko Pop.
uh,
Like, hey, y'all gonna put this shit to bed? Like, this is one of the coolest pops I've ever seen. And you're telling me that there's going to be a Boba Fett riding a Rancor? That box is going to be huge. A Rancor's huge. Like, there is a Rancor Funko.
It's probably just gonna be the size of that Boba Fett right there. Sorry for my delay. I had internet issues that I just reset my node because it's been a few months since I had. So, yeah.
all right, real quick, Matt, how did you feel about the Most Vespa Street Gang? And then also, do you think that the storyline with the Hutts is wrapped up, or do you think they're still up to no good and maybe in line with the Pikes and the Mayor?
I'm kind of 50-50 on that because realistically, I think I don't think they were lying. I think they're not even worried about it anymore because at the end of the day, there aren't a lot of Hutts left, and that's been made known across the galaxy. So, in an effort of self-preservation, I think they aren't worried about it anymore. However, I could see them coming back towards the end of him reaching out to them and trying to make a bargain or deal. So yeah.
And then the Street Gang, how'd you feel about them? Because it's very different, and I've heard a lot of people talking about how different it was, and maybe it isn't quote unquote Star Wars. But the more I think about it, the more I like it.
I TBD on that. I got to see more from them. We have 4 more episodes left. We're probably going to see plenty of them. I don't know. Like the scene itself, the chase didn't look that great to me. Like effects wise, stylistically, shot wise, and this, that, and the other. So, that's realistically all I have to say on that. But
no, that's fair. And I want to talk a little bit more about the street race a little bit later because that definitely wasn't my favorite part of the episode. But another thing that I really, really enjoyed, and this is before the Hutts show up, is Fennec and Boba Fett. They're having lunch, and Fennec's just like got her feet up. She's just chowing down, and Boba's just like looking around like that's enough food. Like he seems to not. I think Fennec had her own idea of what ruling and being a crime lord would be, and Boba Fett had a completely different idea because it seems like they're always kind of almost not butting heads, but always at a disagreement about what the next move should be. Yeah. And I liked in this scene how Fennec's like, just wait, just be patient. They'll come to you. And Boba Fett's, no, I need to respond. I need to earn their respect. Because I mean, we saw in the beginning of the episode, Homeboy's like, yeah, they don't respect you out there. And so Boba, he wants that respect. He wants to rule with respect. And then sure enough, here comes the Hutts knocking on the door, and Fennec ended up being right in that moment, which I'm glad because I've heard other people also talk about Fennec hasn't had enough to do, but I like how she's kind of the other voice in his head. Like he's obviously the daimyo, he's the leader, but he has his partner in crime that's not just a yes man or a yes woman in this case, just agreeing with everything he says. Like she's challenging him and being correct sometimes.
Right, and that's probably why I've been excited for the Fennec character mostly. But I can definitely understand the criticism of she hasn't had much to do. But then again, up until this point, most of the show has been flashbacks, so I'm not going to hold that against her.
Right, and we talked, we've talked every episode thus far that they are slowly building the story, and I like that. Not every single episode needs to punch you in the face with action, or oh my god, this cameo shows up. Oh my god, brains melting. Like I like the slow burn. I like the intimate moments, with these characters, and we're gonna get that later. Like I said, when Boba Fett rides in with a Rancor, we're gonna all lose our minds. But we don't need that right now. We need to build the story, and that way it'll pay off in the end when those big action set pieces, take place. But again, this is a very short episode, only about 40 minutes, and we've kind of hit the big thing.
Realistically, 30 once you factor in the
that shit
2-minute
was
recap.
34 minutes, dog. Like that shit was 30
recap
minutes
with
long.
credits, 30 minutes.
See, when I start the episode, it shows me 38, so I just had that in my mind. But you're right.
That counts 2-minute recap and then the 6 minutes of credits. It's like
Right, but yeah, we might as well talk about the street race now. I didn't love it stylistically, and I've heard a lot of people, and I kind of agree it was very slow. But again, headcanon, the way I see this, and I think maybe what they were going for was that this Major Domo, he's kind of an imbecile, right? He's never been in a street race before. Of course, he's going to be crashing into things. It's not
you guys know what street race also sucks? The one in Greece, right? Like it's not that cool. Like it's really not that great.
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be
meaningful. It's meaningful.
Yeah, and I think Boba Fett easily could have tracked that dude down on his jetpack.
Oh, 100%. Launch the fucking rocket, bro. Look at this thing. You see this thing? Drop that bitch down and shoot it with a rocket. You're the Major Domo of Mos Espa. You better have more rockets. Like, honestly, the Gamorrean guards, one of them should be strapped with rockets for you. And you're like, oh, give me another. Right. Boom, launch. Like, oh, boom, launch. Like, it should just be on command. Like, come on. Like,
yeah, and in that moment,
just lands too. Like he's just sitting up there, fucking watching it all from above.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think he used this moment. He used this moment to like see what his new, gang of street 100%. Bikers were made of. Like this 100%. Guy's not really a threat. I could track him down in 2 seconds, but no, y'all get your little bikes. You go chase him down, do the hard work for me, which is your job. But also let me see what you can do. And I mean, they held their own. And it seems like the female one, which we don't really know any of their names yet, but she seems to be like kind of the leader, and she's very spunky and confident.
In the credits,
I didn't see. I definitely should have wrote that down, but they weren't named on screen, and so, but yeah, I liked how it came to a conclusion. I liked how Boba Fett's like lands in front of him. He's like, all right, where's the mayor? What's going on? You're going to tell me now. And then the Major Domo.
He's meeting with the Pikes.
Yeah, he's meeting with the Pikes. And so now everything's starting to come together, the flashbacks and the present day, which we kind of predicted would happen.
Ooh, they do have names. Do you want their names?
Yeah, give me their names.
They're pretty great. I love it. The guy with one eye, played by Jordan Bolger. His name is Skad, Skad. The woman with the robotic hand, Sophie Thatcher's the actress. Her name in the show is Drash, Drash.
Okay.
That's sick.
These are very punk names. I like that.
And Stephen Root, who's from The Man in the High Castle, I think it's from so many other things. Stephen Root's been in a billion projects, but to me, for some reason, that's the show I've watched a billion times. So it's kind of in front of my head. His character's name, Lortha Peel. And then Nutcracker Biker is the name of one of the people, and Drummer is the name of one of the other bikers. Also learned a little bit of extra stuff that the actress who was playing the Tusken Warrior is Joanna Bennett, who is famous for stunt work as Captain Marvel's stunt double. She's Gal Gadot's stunt double, and she has done some stuff for Well, those are two pretty big things, so we can just lead with those. So that's why those scenes look so badass, because she's done so many badass things in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I saw that this week, and I was really excited to see more of her. And then
Unfortunately, she's fucking dead, Toby.
Yeah. So that stinks.
Actually, she's not. She is the only Tusken that we spent time with face to face that wasn't accounted for.
Oh, you right. Oh, you so right.
Wait,
Matt.
did he throw her gaffy stick into the fire?
No, that was
we
the
don't know that it
child's.
was hers. It was like a random black one, and then he throws the Chiefs in, and then he because hers had an extra piece on the end, and the first one that he throws in is just like a one like his before a piece was put on the end, and then the Chiefs, and then the kids. It was 3 sticks.
Okay, so we talked last week, at length about how Boba Fett was gonna get into a bind in the present day, and he was gonna go recruit his Tusken warrior friends to come save the day. But now they're gone. So I mean, I wonder if the warrior is still alive, she might be able to help him out. That would be pretty cool. But like you talked about last week, of like the Riders of Rohan showing up, the third light on the 5th day or whatever, right as the sun is rising.
But
like
it's just Gandalf.
Yeah.
Now it's just Gandalf.
Yeah, it's just
Gandalf was like, yo, it did not go great in Rohan. Actually, I don't know if the guys told you these dudes were already leaving. I couldn't catch up to them, but I still had to make it. I wasn't going to be late. But how sick would it be? And this is just whatever. She takes that helmet off, and it is Joanna Bennett, and she's beautiful. Right. And he's like,
oh, whoa. Okay.
Whoa! What is going on here?
Right.
Like, speaking of reveals, where everyone's like, "Wow, look."
But no. But that brings up an interesting question, because he traded in, his Tusken friends with the Rancor. So I'm gonna ask both of you: what would you rather have? You're in a bind, right? You need some help. You have door number 1, you have a freaking Rancor, or number 2, a tribe of Tusken Raiders. What are you picking to help you out?
Numbers oversized. Give me the tribe of the Tuskens.
The tribe? Okay. Colin? It's a tough question, I know. I think I'm going with the Rancor.
No, I think I'm going with the Rancor.
Yeah.
I think one Gamorrean is like 3 unarmed humans. Bring it on. Bring it on with the Rancor. I think the Rancor would squash the biker gang.
Right. If it was a tribe of Tusken warriors, that's one thing. But just a tribe of Tuskens, they all seem to be okay with rifles, but they're not, right ass like the Tusken warrior was.
Oh, they get decimated. They have a terrible KD. Their game is awful.
Right. Anyway, so we
5s.
Right, and something we skipped over real quick. Boba Fett lets BK go, right? The Hutts say, sell him back to the fighting pits, make some money, that'll be our tribute. And then he lets him go. It's like, hey, no hard feelings, man. Business is business. Kind of see you later.
I didn't the line of take it from a former bounty hunter. Like they hadn't met before.
Right, yeah. But the people watching the show don't know that. I think that's one thing.
Yeah,
they have to do in that situation.
How much better would it have been if they were like?
Well, no, he didn't say that. He didn't say that to BK though. He said that to the Hutts. He turned to BK and said, "No hard feelings."
Looking at Black Chrysanthemum, the twins are gone, and
he says, "No hard feelings." He says, "No hard feelings" to BK.
No, dude, there's another line. I'll pull.
No, I don't remember for sure, but again, like I said, 99.9% of people watching this show have not read the comics where Black Chrysanthemum shows up and don't know that they have a history. So I think they just kind of threw that in there just to maybe give an idea of, maybe they know each other. But anyway, I'm glad that he let him go. I'm pretty sure we're going to see him again later on in the series. At least I hope so. Because, I mean, just him fighting Boba Fett, him growling, and the freaking electric brass knuckles, everything about him is just freaking cool. And I like that, they seem to be on good terms now. So if Boba Fett, again, gets in a bind like we expect him to, he might recruit Black Chrysanthemum to be in his entourage, to kind of help him out. But anything else? I mean, I guess we talk about next week, what we kind of expect to see. And we talked about, trailer footage last week about how we know Boba Fett's gonna find Finnick. We know that Boba Fett's gonna
He says,
track
take
his
it
ship
from
down.
an ex-bounty hunter. Like,
And
it's nothing personal. It's just business.
Right, yeah.
Ex-bounty hunter.
Yeah, I liked that. Like, I like that Boba Fett
That's
really doesn't
open-ended.
Yeah, he doesn't need to like pick a fight with him.
And he says ex-bounty hunter, maybe saying like, I'm out of your business. I'm into another one. Maybe you should think about the same.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. But anyway, looking to the future, we talked last week about how trailer footage, we know Boba Fett's she's gonna find Finnick. We don't know how or why yet. They're gonna track down his ship, and then they're gonna track Mando.
I got a thought, bro. I don't know if that's a flashback.
It's gotta
What's
be.
a flashback?
Where's his ship right now?
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's parked in.
It's probably parked.
And
Is
as
that how
palace.
they get to Mos Espa so fast? And we just can't
Probably.
afford some fucking Slave One shots
We haven't seen the Slave One in present day
at all.
At all in these 3 episodes.
It's not the Slave One.
Oh,
it is not
shut
Slave
the
One.
fuck up.
It is Fire Sprayer.
I should not have even brought this up. Oh my god. The discourse about the name of this freaking ship on the internet is getting a little ridiculous.
Boo.
Like,
That wasn't a Bob Chapek thing.
I would just say this. Who cares?
You don't think that was
Who
a
cares?
Bob Chapek thing?
I think that was just a Disney
No,
thing.
that's
like,
I'm pretty
overall
sure
Disney.
I'm pretty sure that was a
not wanting-
Lucasfilm thing because Lucasfilm, they were the ones who stopped selling slave Leia stuff. They are anything that's involved slave in the name or promotional material, they've dropped
And it's
or
just so
changed.
easy to do because it's not written anywhere. Oh, wait, except the official novelizations of Star Wars novels. So, as
It's whatever. I don't
capitalized
care.
Boba Fett ship. Imagine they go back and rewrite the novelizations, and it's like capital B, capital Fett.
No, it's called the Fire Sprayer. That's the official name of the.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
not what the
Cool
Legos
name.
say.
The Lego says Boba Fett's starship is what it says.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is, right? But I don't care. I don't care. Like Fire Spray,
But I
Slave
want to
One,
see it.
Boba
Like,
Fett's
can we
ship.
not afford that shit? Like, can we not get one?
Like we've
shot of
seen
his
it
ship?
3 times in flashbacks, and that was Jango Fett's ship at the time. We haven't seen, and I mean, we are going to see it eventually. Like, we have to. Like, we
What
literally
if he
have
just
to. It's his
lands
ship,
that
but-
shit? He's like, "How's this for a litter?" And he just lands the bitch like right in front of the club the next time they show up, and he's like, "How's that?" What? You know, he just needs to make an entrance. He's like, "Well, what if I just drop my ship right in the
Right.
middle of the city?" How you like
Right.
that?
But no, anyway, back to my point. We know that Finnick, or at least we assume Finnick and Boba are gonna steal the fire spray from underneath Bib Fortuna because he's got to take it to go track Mando, right? So we're kind of seeing how those pieces are going together. But we know next week, or assume next week, that he's gonna track down, the gang that just killed his friends. And again, next week is episode 4. So I would hope that he would wrap that up next week, and then he finds Finnick, and then we get into how we meet him present day. But in the present day, we know that at the end of this episode, they're going to war. The Pikes are here. This is just the first wave, as Finnick says, and Boba Fett's all right. We need to prepare for them. And so I'm really curious what next week holds. Like, are we really going to start getting into the action here? Are they going to be button heads and going to war with the Pikes next week? Or is it more kind of sitting down at a table and discussing things? What do you guys think?
I think this is when we get that scene of all the crime families from the
And
trailer.
he's gonna reach out to them and
He's
be
gonna
like,
reach
for help,
out.
yeah.
And he's gonna be like, yeah, let's work together. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he's building his entourage. He's got the street gang, but he's still very outnumbered. And
Yes.
he's, as we've said over and over again, he's very much in over his head. He didn't know what he was getting into, and so he's gonna need some advice and some help from the other daimyos who have a little bit more experience than he does. But Colin, I'm gonna ask you this now, and I know you're probably gonna get sad. Are our chances of seeing Crimson Dawn are those?
Hell
Over.
no.
no,
Hell no. It's going
No.
on.
Dwindling.
What the fuck?
Wow.
The Pikes
I'm
gonna run
surprised.
this shit.
The Pikes are so intertwined with the Crimson Dawn. Are you crazy? Like, of
The
course
Pikes
we're gonna
are
get there.
in on this shit. Hell, we could have a Shadow Collective for all I know.
I don't know.
And there's
I'm
so much
torn.
stuff in the comics with Crimson Dawn. This is going to be the moment where Disney Comics are like, We fucking told you you should have been paying attention. And this is the moment where like all this Kira stuff's coming out right now with Crimson Reign. And it's just going to be like, look, we've been trying to tell you. And for once, you should have listened to the nerds with the comic books. They've been wrong every time before then. It's like the Mephisto in the MCU shows. Finally, we're going to get something from the comic books that matters. I think Crimson Dawn will possibly be the capper of this season, as just as Boba feels like he's established some sort of control over Tatooine. Kira's going to show up. Or someone in Crimson Dawn will be teased at some point in the last 3 episodes that'll lead us to Kira in a stinger.
No, see, I think that will be season 2.
That's
what I'm saying. This will be the stinger.
That's what I'm saying.
Sets it up.
Oh, okay. Because I don't see
a stinger at the end of season 1. That's literally me saying she's gonna
just like the dark saber was the stinger at the end of Mando.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was confused for a minute.
Yeah.
But because they've already they keep changing things.
She's gonna be on the holocron. She's gonna be in the holocron this time,
and she's gonna grab a lightsaber, like
no,
for dramatic effect.
No, that'd be way too much.
No, because I thought, or at least I think that's what they were trying to portray, was like, oh, the Hutts are the big bad. The Hutts are in charge. It can be Boba Fett versus the Hutts. It's like, oh nope, it's actually the Pikes. The Pikes are actually in charge. I don't see them being like, nope, it's not actually the Pikes. It's actually Crimson Dawn who are in control of the Pikes, who are in control of the Hutts. Like, I don't see that happening. I think
they weren't
Pikes
in
are going to be
control of the Hutts. They were in control of the mayor.
Right, yeah, they're all in cahoots. Like, all of them are in cahoots. I still think so, at least. Like, the mayor, the Hutts, the Pikes. Like, I think they're all... I mean, the other street gang, the one that Boba Fett is going to go fight
I don't know if the Hutts are in Crimson Dawn. I don't know if that's some shit that Crimson Dawn wants. I don't know if that's not their brand of thugging.
No, I don't think they are either. I think they just... nobody wants Boba Fett there. I think they were all kind of teaming up for a second just to get Boba Fett out of the picture.
He feels like a fucking narc. every time he walks into a room, everybody looks at him like the teacher just walked back in from the bathroom.
That's one thing I am kind of sick of seeing. Like, how many times are we going to see Boba and Finnick walking through the streets of Mos Espa to enter a building? Like,
oh my god, that's what I'm saying about movies. Like, it feels like The Sopranos.
Like, can we please calm down with the dramatic music? Boba
Toby,
and his entourage
Toby, have you ever watched an episode of The Sopranos?
I've never watched The Sopranos. I've never.
If you're getting tired of this and Boba Fett, then you could.
Then brother, I got 6 seasons of one of the greatest.
I'm mostly joking. Like, I'm mostly joking. Like I've said, I like the slow burn. I like them, facing off. I like the discussions. Like, I actually really like that stuff in Star Wars. So I'm not complaining, but it seems like every other scene is just a dun 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 dun, like walking through the streets.
Then Toby one. I need you to hop on your HBO Max and start watching The Sopranos. Yeah, and you'll get why Colin and I are...
I'll add it to the list of a bajillion things.
You'll get why Colin and I are so excited about what's going on, because this definitely feels like a Sopranos show. Excuse me for a moment while I go yell at a child who's got a subwoofer that he keeps forgetting is right next to my wall.
Can't hear it.
I can hear it through my headphones, so that's...
I love when Matt's on the show. He's still not actually on the show. He's just in and out. Reset the Wi-Fi. Gotta go get my pizza rolls out of the oven. Gotta go yell at my little brother. Like, he's just in and out. But we love him.
Okay, so before we do our random ratings to wrap up the show,
yes,
I'm gonna throw it to Matt. One out of left field prediction that's not Kira or Cad Bane.
Ooh. Tough question.
I got none. I really don't, because
nothing
with this genre, or with the gangster film kind of genre. It's always the slow burn and the last thing you expect. So I'm not gonna put out a crazy prediction, because I just know it's probably the last thing I expect, and I'm just here for the ride for it.
That's fair. Colin, do you have one?
Well, my one's more kind of fun. So if you have a serious one, you can go ahead.
No, I think that we will see a de-aged Tamora Morrison as Jango Fett in a flashback. Like I really hope we see that.
So you've given up on Captain Rex?
No, I'm keeping
left
my
that there is like a dangling.
I'm
Well,
keeping my expectations in
considering
check for that one because I really
Dave
don't want to
Filoni
get
wrote
overhyped and then
episode
be
6.
disappointed.
That's where I was going. So Dave Filoni wrote.
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I keep
Episode
forgetting
6.
about that. Right? He's gonna bring in somebody. Like you already know, like because we know Ahsoka's coming, and Book of Boba Fett was his appearance in Mando was a backdoor pilot for Book of Boba Fett. So I wonder if there's going to be an Ahsoka-esque character or Ahsoka herself that's going to be a backdoor
How have we not
pilot
talked
for
about like
her
why
show.
wouldn't Din Djarin show up in this show? I don't know how we have not mentioned that on this show in 3 episodes.
He has no business on Tatooine.
What do
he
you
has
mean?
nothing
Like,
to
but it
do.
doesn't like Homeboy came and saved.
No,
your
because the
fucking
last time we saw him, he was on his way to Mandalore with Bo-Katan and the rest of that crew. That is
That's
why.
cool. That doesn't mean that he can't like ask them a question.
Just a transmission, like, hey buddy, how are you
Hold up
doing?
now. What did we figure out this guy's name was? I'm gonna be on these guys like white on rice. Scad.
Yeah.
Scad walked up to like a wall phone, like a wall holocron. It was just
That was
like,
cool. I liked that.
payphone in Mos Espa. I was like, that's some high tech shit. Like he's like can send a signal. I'm assuming it's just probably like in the state, like he's in the same area code.
Mhm.
Like I don't think he can make like a long distance call on that wall phone. But still, like Boba could call up Mando if he needed to.
No, I think that would be a distraction from the show itself. I think that would take people out of it and be like, oh my God, Mando, the flagship character of Star Wars right now. Like we need to focus on Boba Fett and Finnick and what they got going on. But because we know Ahsoka's coming, I think we could see maybe not Ahsoka, but maybe we could see another Rebels character. Maybe Sabine could show up.
I mean, we know they cast
Tatooine.
We know they cast Sabine.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I don't think it would be Ezra or even
don't say the E word. No, bro. No. We got like 4 more months before that.
That is strictly saved for the show that starts with an A.
Right. I'm just throwing random Rebels characters just to see what sticks because I do see Dave.
You want to know one that could? I'll give you 2 that might be able to stick because they're the only ones we haven't heard jack shit about since the show ended. Zeb and
Callus.
Hera?
There we go. Thank you, Colin.
Oh, Callus.
Zeb and Callus.
Here's the problem, brother. Here's the problem. Callus is a white man voiced by a black man. That man's voice is so fucking iconic that it would be really fucking weird to see a white man try to pull off that voice.
And I don't know if Callus. I don't know if Callus would have the impact.
Chocolatey, velvety smooth for a white man to pull that shit off.
I think if they're paired, you get the impact of Callus. I'm not saying Callus. That's why I'm giving you the pairing because people in Star Wars have always shipped them.
Is Callus even alive? Like would Callus have survived?
Yes. Oh yeah,
remember he's in the epilogue of Rebels. He went off with Zeb to see.
He's in the epilogue, but that shot to me always signified that was like what happened exactly after they were done, or that only
epilogue covered the end of the war. That covered the end of the war because it was Sabine recapping everything that had happened after the end of the war, and that's why you have Jason already a few years old.
How do we not have a comic book series of what they did during the main trilogy, like kind of like a Smallville season 11 type deal?
Yeah, I
think that's territory Dave doesn't want anyone else to cover but him. I think because you know how he feels about his characters.
Well, speaking of which, there are 2 pieces of news we could talk about. One is the fact that they hired a couple people from. I was looking at this earlier. Let me go to Star Wars News Net. They hired a couple animators to work on a top secret animated project.
Oh, I'm tired of hearing about secret animated projects. Like, I'm tired of being disappointed, to be honest, because
Monsters at Work in the Rocketeer Animation Studio for unannounced CG series.
I don't know if I believe that because months and months before Ahsoka showed up in The Mandalorian, there were heavy rumors that a Rebels sequel series was done and ready to be put out, and it was going to be put out this past fall. And then Ahsoka showed up, and that changed things, and it's going to be live action. I was fine.
They said that I heard. What I remember is people saying a Rebel sequel series was in development, and then we got the casting rumors of Ahsoka, and then they said the Rebel sequel series will most likely be live action and be the Ahsoka series.
Right. Did that news come before Rosario Dawson picked up the phone? If yes, that news is invalid.
It was around the same time. So my guess,
that's called negotiations. Like like aggressive negotiations with the
she's like, nah, you gonna give me my series, and Dave's gonna
Like I just watched some narco shit where they like rigged an election and they walked up to tallying results and just put a 0 at the end of it. That's what Rosario Dawson did. She walked up to Bob Chapek and was like, no, you're gonna add another 0.
Bobby Iger was still in charge at the time.
That, okay, money comes
Iger was in charge.
Okay, everybody calm down.
Papa Iger was still in charge. Give him his goddamn respect.
He's gone after the 31st.
I know. I'm saying at the time that she came on, he was still in charge.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to put some of the blame for money spent. But like, there was the time where that was probably in heated discussions of what route are we going to go down? Are we going to commit to another animated series with these characters, or is that Q score high enough that Rebels has caught on since it's been added to Disney Plus that they can hold a live action performance? And I think the answer was yes, and that's why the animated series was pushed down and Ahsoka was brought up. Like, now let's remember, guys, we're a year past the announcement of Ahsoka, and it's not even in production.
It's about to be in the next couple months.
I know it's about to be, but it's not.
They're finishing Mando season 3
right now, and it's not going into production until Mando's done, which is somehow on track to release on time, but is one bad COVID wave away from not being able to finish on time, because that's just how it is right now. But I saw David Klein was on Fat Man Beyond this week, and he shot episode 1. He shot episode 6 of Mando season 2, where Boba was introduced, and he was at work on Mando season 3. So they were literally at work. He was in his office and then walked out into the void, or volume, whatever I call it.
No, but back to the news about the Super Seeker animated thing. The other reason why I say cap on that is because we talked about. Yeah, I did say cap.
How old are you?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I was 23.
I'm 24.
Okay. That's allowed. That's allowed. The age is 25.
Anyway, no, me and Colin, we talked about this on a few episodes back about this Darth Maul, Crimson Dawn animated show that was supposed to be announced on Disney Plus Day, the joke that was, and then absolutely no news, nothing exciting whatsoever, and we've not heard anything about it since. So I think I'll
say this in regards to this. I'll say this: anytime there's been something to be rumored to be announced on a Disney, anything that wasn't either Celebration or D23, it never fucking get announced.
That's very true. We need to stop getting excited about those things, but they also need to stop making us get excited.
Speaking of Celebration, there's talks that it's going to get pushed back.
It's going to get pushed back.
There's talks that it is. So Ken Knapsack, when I saw him at Spectacular, he remembered me as Lando from the Rise of Skywalker panel. And we were talking about Celebration. He's like, yeah, I heard that Lucasfilm was talking about pushing it back because they don't think we're out of it. I'm like, oh.
I have news for everyone, and I really, really don't want this to turn into a COVID discussion, but we're never going to be out of it.
I agree, but I just mean, like, they didn't think we were going to be, like, because we're the U.S.,
No. I mean, I get it, but like, freaking, I watched the national championship. That game was completely packed. No one was wearing masks.
Yeah,
like, we gotta keep it moving at some point, man. Like, May is still.
Well, if you want to have that conversation, like 65% of those people probably weren't vaccinated anyway. So
yeah,
I mean, that's true.
It's 2 teams from the South, and you were in Indiana.
Yeah, and it was outside.
Come on.
And it was very cold.
Did you guys see the videos of the people from Georgia in restaurants, like doing Georgia chants and scaring the shit out of nice Indiana people? Like those people were like, just like hollering in random places, like all over the place. It's
No, I love my city, and I'm so glad my city was represented well. Everyone always talks so highly about us whenever there's like the Super Bowl or a national championship or the combine. Like
They love March Madness
Indy.
there. You guys did a great job with
Yeah.
March Madness. I worked with some people at the PGA Championship for CBS that absolutely loved being in Indianapolis and just how nice and clean.
It's a good city. But back on topic. I don't even know where we were. Super Secret Animated Project. I say no. I don't think that's a thing. At least we're not going to know about it for a long time. So it's not even. It's out of my mind now. Like it's gone.
And then in the video game side of things, Fallen Order 2 leaked that it's going to be announced before E3 or around E3. As of right now, Celebration is before E3, so it kind of tracks. And then, yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
That I believe. That I definitely believe.
January 8th. Bespin Bulletin has learned that we'll be getting our very first look of the new Jedi game at Star Wars Celebration in May, which has been the plan since last year and echoes what Jeff Grubb said earlier this week. In addition, the game will not be called Fallen Order 2, but will instead lead with the Jedi franchise name and a new subtitle, like how the first game prominently features existing Star Wars characters, Saw Gerrera and Darth Vader, major plot points, plus a small cameo from Obi-Wan. The sequel will apparently feature more familiar faces on top of its cast of original characters, although the author opted to not reveal who these characters are at this time. It sounds like several of them weren't in the previous game.
Yeah. And then also the KOTOR remake will feature new systems and content while adhering to the original game's story.
Which is kind of what we expected, I think. At least that's what I was. When they say remake, they're not changing the story up, changing it's just they're rebuilding the game from the ground up, new mechanics, but the same story, which I'm cool with because I still don't know what the story is, so I'm going in completely blind, which is exciting.
Toby, just buy the original on your
Why on earth would I do that?
right now.
It is not because you have to
It is
know what we went
It is one of the greatest Star Wars stories of all time.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is I'm going to play it on a PS5 with PS5 mechanics, which is way better than playing a 20-year-old game on my laptop.
Toby,
no thanks.
You can play it on your PS5.
Why would I do that?
Because it's
why would I do that?
It's
literally
$10, bro.
It will be a PS5 game. It will be a PS5 game that I can hold in my hand in like 2 years. I can wait. I waited 24 years to not know anything. I could wait 2 years.
Toby, I'm gonna come to Indianapolis.
You will not
duct tape you to your chair.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I said that when the game was announced. I told you guys I'm gonna wait.
And I'm telling you, I'm gonna duct tape you to a chair with nothing but a PlayStation remote in your hands.
No, barter with him this way. Play the new one, and then play the old one.
I could see myself doing that. That way, I have the experience of playing the original
I
game
would
that everyone else played. But
I would say, as someone who runs a Star Wars show, it makes the most sense to play the first one ahead of time. Then, when the new one comes out, play it and be able to make the comparisons between the two. That's just me, though.
I don't know. We'll wait and see. It depends. It depends when the game's coming out because we still don't really know. So if the game keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and we're talking 2025, like maybe I'll just get impatient and play the original game. But that remains to be seen. We still haven't gotten the Lego Star Wars game. When's that coming out? I know that was also in the that Newsnet article that you just read. That when they were breaking down the video game stuff, that it's supposedly coming soon, but we've been hearing that for a year and a half. I'm really excited to play that. I can't wait to get it on my Switch so I can actually play my Switch more often. But anyway, is any other news that you guys know of? It's been a while since we've talked news.
Other than which we covered when talking about the show, it's Filoni directing or writing episodes 6 of Boba Fett. No, that's really it, man. And Colin touched on this. Mandalorian season 3 still currently filming as planned.
All right. Exciting times.
The Duel got nominated for an Annie Award for animated short story. So,
Colin, have you finished Visions yet?
Nope, still haven't finished Visions, guys. And you can't think
that's insane to me.
Thing I have with anime, if I like something, I'm not going to finish it. I'm gonna let it sit there
That's
forever and
so
enjoy it when I
funny.
can.
Like
I'm gonna
you
take
are
a bite of it. It's like you guys. No,
But
no, no, okay,
Colin,
you guys
it's been
ready?
hinted
Ultimate
at that we're
metaphor.
getting
Ultimate
season
metaphor
2.
time. No. You guys know how Charlie Bucket eats a little piece of fucking chocolate in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? That's how I like to chew off anime.
But Colin, it's basically been confirmed we're getting season 2.
That's cool. I can finish it before season 2. Then I know I'm getting more. I don't want it to end right now. I'll finish it before season 2.
That's hilarious to me. That
Sure.
like you were the anime guy. It's Star Wars,
Isn't it?
best of both worlds.
I've watched that thing 3 times already.
That's great. That's great. And I'm happy for you.
Colin, what's your favorite dessert of all time?
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding. So if I handed you banana pudding right now, you're basically like,
I'm
nah,
gonna
I'm
make that bitch
good. I
last.
don't
Do
need
I
it.
have
I'll
more
take a
banana
bite.
pudding? Do
I'll
I
take
have
like
more
a
banana
bite of
pudding,
it
or
and
do
be
I
like, no,
just
that's
have
it.
the amount of banana pudding that you put in front of me?
Just the amount we put in front of you.
Then I'm gonna take tiny bites of that bitch and make it last.
It's gonna be sitting on like your table, just growing mold, and you're like, no,
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
finish it.
like,
I'm
one more
gonna finish
bite.
it.
One more bite.
Okay.
And then like the second I finish it, Gaine is gonna walk in the door and be like, I brought more banana pudding. I'm gonna be like, yay!
Okay, that seems like a perfect place to end the show.
Wait, no. We have to do our how many.
Oh yes.
how many
I'm sorry. Ranking out of 10. Real quickly, I'm
Matt,
gonna
you have
say
to use a ranking of a random thing from the episode. So like this many discs out of this.
out of 10.
6.5 mechanical robot eyes out of 10.
Okay, I like that one. Colin.
Motherfuckers keep stealing my shit. I try to do something on this thing and be original.
I'll go before.
I'm gonna go 7 electric brass knuckles out of 10.
There you go. I'm gonna say 7.5 Vespa speeders out of 10. Most Vespa speeders. That's what I'm calling them from now on.
So it seems like we're all within the same area. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it was a short episode. It moved the story forward. We're getting an idea who the villains are. Had some really good moments with Boba Fett. With the Rancor, I love that.
All of the Tusken Raiders died. Like that's
Tusken
a huge fucking plot point.
Yes.
It's been 40 minutes with these people, and they're all fucking dead.
Yeah,
they're all dead.
We didn't talk about that enough.
Maybe
No, you're right. That was very sad.
But 99% of them are dead, except for the woman. They're all dead.
They're
And he
all
burns
dead.
them all in the span of like 6 minutes. It's fucking bonkers how a show was like, you know what? Let's do a whole episode where we really make you give a fuck about these people. And then we're going to kill them off screen. We're going to kill them off screen.
Tell us how you really
Insanity.
feel, Colin.
I mean, we've seen that before, though. Like that's not that new for Star Wars. Like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru comes to mind.
And he didn't let him go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. Which another fun fact I learned this week was he was actually lying about that in the novelization. That's not what Luke's gonna go do. He's just gonna go play video games with his friends or go mess around. He's not going to get some power converters. That's bullshit. So he's not being a white little bitch. But that's so frustrating. We spent 4 minutes with those old hags. We spent 40 minutes. We spent more time with those people than we have major characters in Star Wars that we all love. And they killed them off screen in a 30-minute episode of a show.
And we talked about... Go ahead, Matt.
I didn't say nothing. That was Colin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just say this. Me and Colin talked last week about what's going to motivate Boba Fett to go away from the Tuskens, right? Like he has this relationship with them, this bond. It's his family now. What's going to provoke him to go track down his armor? Now we know. Now they're dead. They're dead. They're gone forever. That's what puts him on his path of vengeance.
The Pikes, though, because it's going to be like, oh, no, I had to go get this thing. And it's going to come back to the Pikes because he's going to find out that the Pikes actually like tipped off the people of where they were, the biker gang of where they were. The biker gang comes through. He has to go fuck up the biker gang. And then he's going to fuck up the Pikes. But that's only 2 more episodes worth of shit.
Mhm.
And then it's going to be like, oh, you messed with the Pikes. Here's who the Pikes owe money to, which is exactly how crime shows work. And you just keep climbing up the ladder. We just watched this in Hawkeye. We just had to climb the ladder of bullshit to get to Kingpin. And this
Right.
Kingpin is Kira. End episode.
All right, Colin, I like where your head's at. But we're always wrong. Every prediction I've had has been wrong up to this point, and I'm sure that'll continue in subsequent
Cheers to being
episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's show. It was a lot of fun. So glad Matt was back. Matt, you have a finger up. One more thing.
Gotta plug something.
Oh, plug.
Ah!
Oh, Scream is out, or it's almost out. Or is it out?
Tomorrow at 7 p.m. But the review we have on this channel for Scream is out. You can go watch that now.
Guys, after you're done watching this show, I'm begging you, please go watch that review. I'm sure it's great. Matt puts a lot of time and effort into those things. He gets to see things before we do. I'm always jealous about it, but watch his review. I'm sure it's great. I cannot wait to check out Scream because one of my favorite horror franchises of all time, and I don't even really like horror. I don't even really like horror that much. I don't like scary stuff, but Scream is incredible. Can't wait to watch it. Please make sure you check out that review and all our other content on the channel. We got a bunch of stuff on here to watch. So
you can catch the episode of Real Sports last night with me, Colin Morris, and Suge Knight. And Matt, what else can they check out?
Euphoria After Dark with myself and Paige for Betty. We are Euphoria After Show. Only 6 episodes this season, so we got 5 more weeks of this. So
that's Sherlock shit.
Yeah,
you're just changing that shit up. Like, no. We're only making 6.
Well, to be fair, and I said this on the show because when I told her it was 6, she was like devastated and was like, "Look, think about what that show is, and we're in COVID times, so you don't need to be throwing party scenes every other day and sex scenes."
True.
So,
but yeah, watch all our stuff. We appreciate it. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on socials, all that good stuff. We will see you guys next Wednesday. We are going to continue to be as consistent as we can, but Wednesday we will have another breakdown for you of Chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate your support as always, and may the Force be with you always.